Hey legends, welcome to another installment of the Virtus Performance Podcast. Before I get stuck into today's guests, or today's guests get stuck into me, I would like to thank everyone who's been listening for the last 49 odd weeks. Your support has been incredible. It's really nice to occasionally get a message of support and get some feedback that people are actually listening and that people are actually enjoying the podcast and getting some value out of it. In a couple of weeks, we hit the goal of 52 podcasts, so I'd love to hear what you guys think we should do once we hit that target. When I started, I set the goal and didn't really know how I would make it work, so it's been a really cool experience over the last almost 12 months to get closer and closer 1 week at a time to actually achieving that goal. So, yeah, if you have been enjoying the podcast, please pump it up, share the message, share the love, add a review, whatever you want to do to help us along our way. Today's guest is someone who I have known for a few years. We met in uni at Uni Games after he'd had a couple of cruises. I think they were passion fruit, correct?
I believe they were watermelon.
Watermelon,
yeah.
Delicious.
Big fan.
Ed Wischer, you guys might remember him from one of the earlier episodes. He jumped in on one with Carlos Cirillo and also sat down with myself and Daniel Atchison to talk about all things life. So we don't really have a topic of today, and because we've already gone through Ed's journey and his story and what he's doing with his projects, today's chat is a little open. So I'm really excited to sit down and talk through what we're both doing at the moment, what the plans are for the future, and probably go off into a couple of little tangents and rabbit holes and see where we're at. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. My personal and business goal is to be just a little bit better every day. I believe everyone, especially normal people, have a story to tell. The Virtus podcast exists to help us all find small ways of consistent improvement by discussing the journey and experiences of each of our guests. Edward.
Lachlan.
Welcome back, mate.
Thank you for having me again.
It's an absolute pleasure. I can think of better ways to spend my Sunday afternoon on Mother's Day, like with my mum, but unfortunately she's unavailable.
Making me feel a little bit guilty, but you invited me here, / self-plug.
But you did see your mum before, correct?
Yeah.
How is she?
She's well. She's well. She's always been a bit weird, but she's like the happiest person I know, so that's always good. We always have fun when we're together, the family, we're very close. So it was good. It was a good day. Good. We've been looking forward to this.
Very good. So. We managed to squeeze a brekkie out with mum before she went off to football with my sister. So
she's a favourite sibling.
Oh yeah. Well, she came to my football yesterday. So, but
fair enough.
But now that I'm a washed-up VFL player, my sister has decided to have a crack at VFL. So now I'm the maybe third best footballer in the family, which is it's a tough pill to swallow.
Not really a claim to fame.
No.
At least you got a successful business. You got something to fall back.
Successful is an interesting term.
Define success.
This
goes straight into philosophy.
Yeah, I don't know. Success. I like talking about this because I think success changes, but for me, it's doing what I want to do in the support of a bigger mission.
Mm.
Yeah.
But that's obviously a business success. Because obviously success is determined differently for different fields.
Yep.
So it's a successful relationship. Well, I suppose that actually applies to a relationship.
Yeah, maybe it applies to everything.
Geez, you're smart.
So yeah, let's rewind that, play it back.
Yeah.
That's actually not...
Just put that
I love
on
that. That might be the best thing I've ever said.
And scene.
And done.
Yeah.
But yeah, success is an interesting one. How has your view of success changed over the last 12 months since we first sat down and did our first one? Because I remember finishing it and you going, geez, I'm a pessimistic bastard.
I still am pessimistic. I really am. And I think I'm sure I've said this before, I think a healthy level, you can have healthy levels of criticism.
Yep.
I think you got to be somewhat self-critical to be able to. I think that comes hand in hand with being self-aware.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you honestly set yourself down and said I'm perfect, then you're just lying to yourself because no one is. Everyone can do something better.
Yeah, 100%.
So in terms of my level of success, when I reflect back on 12 months ago, I reckon I was super lost. No, I'm not super lost. I was a little bit directionless. I just started my thing and I was just like, all right, well, it's a cool idea and I don't know where I want to take it. Whereas since the rebranding, which I'm sure we'll get into, and the new format of it and all that sort of thing, everything's very much changed. And it's been the first time that I've been like, well, this is where it's going. And getting some real momentum, not sort of forced. Like obviously hard work can get you so far, but with these sorts of things where it's more of a message and more of a, just a message. It's a message, and then like obviously you want people to talk about it, and it's been getting a lot more exposure and that sort of stuff. And I think that comes down to having a more of a direction, so I know where I want to take it.
That's really cool. I think it's really funny you say that because you've basically just described where my head's at the moment.
Yeah.
I think although we're doing completely different things, we're probably at fairly similar part of the process or similar, checkpoint of the journey, should I say? Because I think the words like direction and momentum are two things that I feel like I've found a heap of clarity on in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Talk for those that didn't listen, and if you didn't, that's really upsetting. But for those that didn't listen to your first podcast, talk to me about the Human Happiness Project and what it was compared to that rebranding that you've gone through and what it is now.
So that's actually, if I do say so myself, quite interesting. So I started off, and long and short of it is, bad period in my life, I started interviewing people about happiness and I guess well-being in life.
Yeah.
In an attempt to find direction for myself, someone made an off-the-cuff comment that was like, you should document this, these are very interesting questions you're liking. So I spent probably, what was a better part of 10 months interviewing people strictly about happiness. And I eventually, if I look back at it now, I go, geez, that was shit. But I realised it was also a very pivotal point. Like it was all leading towards where it is now.
Yep.
Like I'm saying, I found the direction and stuff like that. So I just used to sit down with people for up to an hour, asking them questions about their happiness, where it comes from, certain aspects of happiness in society and how it's viewed. And then that has now evolved into what I like to call micro cinematic experiences, where I sit down with people and essentially talk about their life, and rather than specifically happiness, because that's such I think for one that's just focused on way too heavily in society, I talk about essentially their journey to who they are today and talk about the relationships, values or experiences that they feel have been most pivotal to leading them to who they are today.
Yeah.
And then essentially what I'll do is take it from a personal experience, talking about their very personal experience, comparing it to what they would consider a societal norm for an average person, and then we'll look into the sort of values in society surrounding these sort of things, whether it be relationships, gratitude, hard work, all these sorts of things.
Yeah.
And then mash it up into like what I'd say it's like a interview and a music video had a baby.
There's a pretty picture you've painted.
Yeah,
I like it. Obviously you've, like we spoke about the first one, but you've discussed happiness. And you've discussed meaning.
Yep.
What's your definition of those two words, and how and why did you just decide to kind of rebrand? Because I really enjoyed the Human Happiness Project because I think you don't necessarily have to. You don't have to be that person who search for happiness to have happiness.
Yep.
But it's really important to, I guess, label what it means, because a lot of people don't know or struggle to necessarily find it.
Yeah.
But meaning is something that, like, I feel as if you have meaning with what you do, no matter what happens, you'll always fall back to that happiness, and everything always works out eventually because you're doing it for the right reasons. You have that meaning behind it. So why did you actually make that decision to change it?
2 reasons. I think happiness and meaning, for one, get very confused.
Yep.
I think happiness is very much a short-term thing, whereas meaning, you can still have meaning in shit periods of your life. Like hard work, as you know, running the gym, 14 hours of work a day isn't exactly fun, but it can be meaningful.
Yeah.
Sweeping a floor, a lot of people would find that very boring and it's not fun, but you can bring meaning to it, as in I'm going to sweep this floor the best that I possibly can sort of thing. I think meaning and happiness, they overlap, but they're very, I think what people are really looking for in their life when they say I'm unhappy is I don't have meaning or purpose in my life.
Yep.
So happiness is, for me, when I was looking at the start, and it has been the project, like as like I'm more involved with it now in terms of my face, but as you know, I wasn't at all.
Yeah.
At the start, it was, if you look at it and you know me, you know that's it, you're actually sort of what, as even though it's involved with other people, you are watching my journey and my development as a person.
Definitely.
If you looked at the macro level of it in terms of like what I've been studying more or less with people. So in terms of the happiness thing, I've just found out more and more people I talk to, and comparing who was happy and who was unhappy, I found more and more that it was the people that had meaning and purpose in their life that found happiness more often. It was the people that were chasing happiness all the time that didn't have any meaning and purpose in their life. When you've got meaning and purpose, you can push through a lot more shit than if you just got happiness.
Yeah.
Because happiness can be taken from you like that. You can have a shit day and your happiness is gone. You can have a really shit day and your meaning for work and stuff like that is still there. So I think long term, that's where you're looking for meaning and purpose.
Definitely.
Happiness is a day-to-day thing.
Yeah, I like that. Have you defined what your purpose is?
I'd say it's 100%
or redefined?
I think my purpose is storytelling in a broad sense. Just because
making babies with interviews and music
videos. But I'd say that's my purpose, and it brings meaning to my life, because I will get messages on Instagram saying, I was having a really shit day and I just watched this interview, thank you so much, it was really beautifully put together, blah blah blah. Just to know that you're making, as you know, just making a positive impact.
It's cool.
It's not a monetary thing. It's just about saying, it's some dude in America that I've never met, or some girl in fucking Germany that I've never met, and it's just like, but to know that you've made a difference in someone's life, and obviously there's a benefit of I enjoy the process.
Oh yeah.
I'm not just being some martyr where I'm just like, following my sword, I'm doing this for you guys sort of thing. Like I love it.
Yeah.
And but it brings me intense amount of meaning and purpose in my life. So it'll be. And that's the thing that gets you to do the 6 hours after you've been at work.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's the really important thing to identify and to realise, like, people or those out there who don't necessarily have that purpose or have that meaning at the moment, you might look at someone like you and go, oh, he's just doing it for his own, like, to make himself feel good.
Yeah.
So fucking what? Like, that's kind of the best part about it, is you're able to make an impact, make a real difference, and feel good in the process. Like, that's the dream.
Yeah,
like
100%.
I think the whole like altruism debate around, are people doing it for the right reasons? There is that area or part of it that's selfishness.
Yeah.
But that's not a bad thing.
I think
that's the best part. Like, that's one of the best parts about it. In a negative way,
I don't think you can ever take selfishness out of it. Like
no.
Why do you have employees? Because it makes your job easier. To a degree. But like, why do you have relationships? It's because if you want to get like really nitty-gritty, having sex feels good for you. You don't get to experience what anybody else feels. Being comforted feels good for you. You
100%.
get the other person feels that too, but at the absolute basis of it, it's you.
Yeah.
Everything we do, even if you look at go way back to what's the benefit of being in a tribe if you're a human. A million years ago, the benefit is that you can hunt a bigger mammal, and then you all get to.
Isn't the Earth 5,000 years old?
Huh?
Isn't the Earth 5,000 years old?
Well, I mean, when God started the first time and then undid it and then redid it 5,000 years ago, it's actually 4,000, mate.
Sorry.
Can you read the Old Testament?
Read a book.
Yep. The book.
Sorry, I watched Cosmos, so it's kind of messed with my my beliefs a little bit.
It's just lies, mate.
I'm actually seeing Richard Dawkins next week.
Wow,
which is going to be amazing. Elite.
One of my favourites.
Yeah.
Go in there as a Christian, please.
I was talking to my old man this morning, and apparently Richard Dawkins is writing a children's book about atheism and the myth of a higher power and things like that. So it's really interesting.
I feel like that's very deep for a kid to go through.
Yeah, it is. But it's probably better than having the Bible fed down your throat, which I assume happens in some areas of society. What were we talking about before I...
Purpose and meaning.
Purpose and meaning, yeah. Altruism.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that, for me, I get an immense feeling of happiness or pleasure or whatever you want to take it when I get a message from a former intern saying how, like, I might not have spoken to them for 6 months, saying how, like, my blog posts have been really helping them with the stuff they're going through, or from someone I've never met about the podcast and how, you know, it's really, really helped them work through parts of their life, and they feel like one of the best feelings I've had is a couple of people have said, I feel like you're talking directly to me when you're talking about a problem or talking about something you're struggling with. And I think that's the beauty for like both of us having these platforms to be able to interview different people and talk about the shit we're going through. Like, yes, we're all different, we're all beautiful, unique snowflakes, but at the end of the day, we're all the same in many different ways. And we all have the same problems. Like, we all have the same money issues, we all have the same relationship stress, we all have the same struggles with work and feeling like, you know, we're drowning at certain times and feeling like we've got to work harder than we need to, or that we necessarily want to sometimes. But when we have that purpose and meaning to come back to, like, everything works itself out. Which I think is really interesting. Have you looked much into Stoicism?
I love it. I live my life by it. 100%. I 100%.
I'm not surprised. One little bit, because we've never spoken about it, but it's something.
It's not something I really talk about because that kind of goes against Stoicism.
It does a little bit. It does.
So if you're out there going like, look how stoic I am. That's
well,
for me. Like for me, that's the way that you
see
should.
Those undertones in how you present yourself.
I love the idea of it, and I think it's something that's fallen out of favour. I think I've said this before on the podcast, I have massive amounts of respect for the people that just shut up and do something.
Yeah.
And it's not about like, and I think, and I do this, I've done this before, and we've all done it. It's like, you know, I'm starting a business, I'm starting this, I'm starting that. Like, you know, I came into you before and said I'm starting a business, but I'd also got like my 6 clients or whatever it is so far. It wasn't like, hey, Lockie, I'm starting a business. And you go, cool, what have you done? I'm like, oh, well, it's just an idea now. But like, a lot of people will go like, oh, that's so cool, blah, blah, and then you get that satisfaction of somebody giving you a pat on the back, but you haven't actually done anything. Whereas for me, that's carrying yourself in a sort of stoic way. It resonates to who I want to be as a person. I want to be the person whose actions speak louder than their words. I think there's a lot of people talking at the moment, and there's a huge lack of action in society. And I think to be stoic is essentially to forego, from my understanding of it and from what I've read of it, and from what I identified, it's foregoing these short-term benefits that are just thrown at us all the time and committing yourself to a higher cause. And I don't mean like having a platform where you talk to people all the time. It could just be like, I want to be a better father, or I want to be a better businessman, I want to be a better employee.
Or like I said before, I want to make sure that every task I do is done well, whether it's sweeping floors or whether it's just
taking pride in what you do. And for me, it's about humility as well, like not saying you're above something. So, you know, you get offered a job, like I said before, sweeping the floor, but you make sure you sweep the floor. Even though I could go, well, I've got a university degree, blah, 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 I've done this, this and this, why should I sweep the floor for my employee? But just like, well, I could either do that or I could sweep the floor the best way possible I could do it. And it's not so someone else can go, wow, he sweeps the floor really well. So I can go home and go, I know I've done the absolute best I could do today in what I've done. Yeah. And, you know, and it's hard because it's not fun.
I think the action's the key point of that, like taking action and not just being like, I think you need to put, like, whether it's the idea you have around a business into practice or whether it's the expectations you have on your staff or your friends or your family. Like, one of the things that one of the standards, I guess you could say, that I try and hold myself to is never ask any of my staff or any of our mentorship students or any of our interns or any of our clients to do something that I don't practice. So whether it's, you know, coming in on a Sunday and cleaning up a little bit and taking the bins out or something like that, because then we can create an environment where we all have each other's backs and we all want to do those extra little things even though they suck. And I think that's the important thing to understand with, like, and if you fight or if you chase happiness, then you might forget this, but if you chase, like I said before, the purpose and meaning, you understand that the struggle is part of it. And one of the things I've started to realise is all the hard decisions I have to make, it's always a good thing. Even though it's hard, it's always a good thing because it helps you identify where you're at and what is important and what you actually want. And I think, like, I've been able to, like, spending 7 weeks away from work helps significantly with one's mindset and perception, but just clarity on what you want and where you're headed. And I think it's taken me, and I'm sure it's taken you, a long time to get to that point of somewhat clarity, because you're never like fully, what's the shorter word of clarity? You're never fully clear on everything.
But I think you need that meaning and purpose. And like I was actually having a conversation with both my little sister literally right before I came here, so half an hour before I walked in this door. She's struggling with that herself.
Yeah.
And same with my older brother, because they're going like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. And that's just so common. Like, how many times has someone come up to you and said that? Especially you being in a leadership position.
Yeah, I've had that conversation with a lot of people, and I think for a really simple like resolution, because everyone looks for an outcome, everyone looks for a way to resolve that feeling of I don't know what I'm doing. My advice is usually try something, just try something new, or have a crack at something, or I don't know if I want to do this, I don't know if it'll be the right thing. Okay, give it a crack, and if you
could hate it, but then you know you're not going back there.
Well, I'll use, like, I think I spoke about this on last week's podcast, but I'll talk about it again because she's upstairs and might be listening. But KP isn't really sure if she wants to be a teacher forever, and her kind of thought process is, I don't know, I don't like this, but I might try something else, and my little pieces of advice I give her is just, okay, have a crack, see what happens. She's like, but what if I get to 50? It's taken me 25 years to get to here and I don't know what I want to do. What if I get to 50 and I still don't know what I want to do? I'm like, well, it's okay. You'll have a lot more experience to figure it out. Plus you might have another 50 years after that where you know what you want to do and you're loving what you do. So I think that not knowing what you want to do, or that not knowing what you're passionate about or what you love, the way to fix that is just by having a crack at stuff. Like, I did so much stuff I didn't like to get to this point, and I'm sure you've been the same. What are your first, I guess, what's your first thought process when someone says that to you?
It's hard to say. I don't like being in the position of when someone goes like, what do I do? First of all, you're dealing with someone that's like really lost. To be able to openly stand up, because everyone, like even you and I, we don't have really any idea what's going to happen. No. Like Virtus could be shut in a year for whatever reason. Someone could bring me up tomorrow and go, well, I've already started a Moments meeting, and I actually started 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
It was 18 months ago, so you got to shut this down.
You're done,
like you don't know, but it's so hard because everybody's lost almost all the time, and that's like the little bit of a secret that no one tells you.
But no one knows what they're doing.
But it's just about taking that leap of faith. But again, I'm not naive enough to think that I was always like that, and I do realise, and I'm sure you do now after you talk to people like this, how lucky we are to have a purpose and meaning. Because that's where the purpose and meaning comes into it.
But there's still those,
that little bit of courage to go forth and go like, well, you know, this scares the shit out of me, you know.
Yeah. And there's still those days where you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, maybe it would be easy to go back to just being my only staff member and worry about myself, or maybe it would be easy to go back to an easier job with less responsibility.
Yeah.
But
100%.
Those days become less impactful on what you're doing.
Less frequent as you keep going. Yeah. Like they still happen, but because as you get more experience, they're less impact, or like you're saying, less impactful. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Eventually they become the status quo, and then there's a new hurdle that you have to hit. But I think when people come to me and say like, what do I say for you, like, what do you like doing? But also you got to look at what do you got to lose. Like I've had people come up to me that have no girlfriend, you know, they don't have a mortgage to pay, they've got no financial responsibilities, which is obviously a huge hurdle.
Yeah.
And then they go, I don't know what to do. I said, well, what's there to think about?
You can do whatever you want.
You know, and then they'll go like, I don't have any time, and that's bullshit. Like I've said this before. Life is a game of priorities. So if you really, really do not want to be in the job you're in, like me now, I want to move out of my job.
Yeah,
it's a good company, but it just doesn't resonate with me. I know that I need to go home and do 4 to 6 hours every night working on my own things.
Yeah.
Whether that's engagement on Instagram, actually editing the content that I've got, you know, even doing a vlog. I don't like vlogging, but I know that it's important for me to put out content almost every day or every second day.
Yeah.
Which means a hefty time investment from me. Or calling people saying, this is what I'm doing, can I come make a free video for you?
Yeah.
And then we'll look at, you know, making it a paid gig afterwards if you enjoy it.
Definitely.
You know, but I know that I need to put in almost 1-to-1 ratio of time to get out of where I want to be. But then people go, I don't have time. And my brother's an example of it. He doesn't, the time investment isn't there. and it's not just him, it's everyone. People go like, I don't have enough time. Like, well, you also watched 3 hours of TV last night.
Yeah.
So is it, you can just be demotivated, but if you really, and that's again where the purpose and meaning comes into it, you go, I know this is what I want, so I will work towards that. It's like, I would rather watch TV when I get home, you know? Well, not really, but like it's easier. I can see why it's easy, you know? Get a beer out of the fridge.
People like cactus after a big day at work.
Yeah, exactly. But that's where, again, like I said, the purpose and meaning comes into it, where you got that little bit of extra motivation. You go like, I'm fucking tired, but you know, whether it's the gym is your like, if your purpose is on it, then you're going to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Or if it's building a business, then you're going to put those extra hours into, you know, and it is those little like 1%ers that eventually add up to
and everything you do is a choice. It's like some people feel as though they don't have a choice and they're lost and they're backed into a corner and they have to make a decision one way or another. But all the decisions you've made over the last 6 months is going to lead to that spot. So I think it's really, really easy for people to like handle off responsibility. But at the end of the day, everything that happens to you isn't your responsibility, but how you react to it is. So I think if
accountability is huge. Yeah. And like my best friend JP says, Jordan Peterson.
Your best friend.
I love him. But he's got shades of stoicism in 12 Rules for Life.
Yeah.
That was basically a book on stoicism.
Yeah.
It was, you know.
Definitely.
And the thing I love the most that he said, and this is what I tell people as well, but obviously this isn't me, I got this from him, is do what you can to make your life better now. His simple analogy of cleaning your room, because everybody goes like, oh, you know, to start my videography business, I need a new camera, so I need to save $4,000. And then that's months off, and that's always going to be months off. But if you go, look, my life's going to be a little bit easier if I clean my room tonight, because then I can find my keys tomorrow. So then the start of my day is that little bit easier, and then that might flow on for the whole day. Then I've got that little bit of extra energy at the end of the day to do what I need to do. Yeah. So, and I think people really undervalue that. Like you hear it all the time, just the 1%ers and all that sort of stuff. People don't value it.
Yeah, but like for me, it's just little things. Like doing a little thing really, really well. Like setting yourself up. You set yourself up for success, right? And I think the way one of the quotes that my business coach uses a lot is the way you start is the way you finish. So at the Monday morning, every Monday, he'll put a post up, say like, what's everyone's goals for this week, and then you've got that. Okay, here's what I'm having a crack at, and then you know one of my things is every Monday, like I'm at work at 5 a.m. every Monday morning, like no exceptions, except if I'm in South America, but that's different. But it's okay. Never miss a Monday. Like I really, really like how simple that is, but how hard it is, how hard it is if you don't do it to get moving after that. While I was hiking in Patagonia a couple of weeks ago, I had a lot of time to think, like 25, 26k hikes, a couple of days in a row. I had a lot of time in my own head, which would be scary for anyone else, but I've been working it out in there for a little while.
Is it scary at all?
No, it's not scary. It's
just freeing. Because there's an argument to be made in terms of the environment you're in as well.
Oh, environment is a massive part of it. I had a chat with one of my good friend, another coach, someone who just pop it, mate. We're drinking Jetty Road Pale Ale. If anyone's if anyone's wondering, so get around the boys at Jetty Road. But he was saying, like, we were talking about environment, and we we're talking about how important the environment is to what you like. Like, you don't necessarily have to be doing a job you love, but if you're in an environment you love, how important that is. And for me, I was trying to work out, because I'm a fairly visual learner. Like I like writing and putting it all on paper and seeing it and figuring it out. And I was trying to work out just a little triangle that I thought is really important for whether you call it success or happiness or meaning or purpose. It doesn't really matter because everyone talks about inspiration. Everyone talks about motivation. Everyone talks about discipline. Everyone's like, "Nah, this one's more important. Nah, this one's more important." But I kind of put it in a little triangle, right? Like you got your discipline at the top, you got your inspiration on your left, you got your motivation on the right. And I think if you can set yourself somewhere in the middle for the majority of time, like you're always going to be bouncing between the three, then you're always going to be working towards the things that you want, or that serves you, or that motivates you or inspires you, and then when you're feeling no motivation, no inspiration, which we all go through like over and over again, discipline's the thing that gets kicked up the bum. And I think it might have been Greg, our physio, his really simple explanation of discipline was giving yourself a command and then following through. And that's it. And when we can simplify it to that lack of time or that I don't know what I want to do, if we can come back to that, just give yourself a command and follow through with it, then you're building the momentum and you're moving forward and you're not allowing yourself to stop and sit and wallow in self-pity. One of the things that I like, I'll use the word preach even though I don't like it, but I preach all the time to a lot of people in my life, whether it be staff or clients or friends or family, is that how rubbish the no time thing is. Like, there's 168 hours in a week and we all have the same amount of time. Like, make sure you're getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep and then the rest is up to you. And it's, you look at the most successful people in the world, whether it's Gary Vee or Bill Gates or whoever we all look up to, whether it's Jordan Peterson, like, he gets exactly the same amount of time as you do, exactly the same time I do. So when you lose that sense of poor me, I think, when you look at it like that and start to realise that everything that happens to me is completely up to me how I deal with it. And like, Stoicism's helped me a lot, like books like Meditations and reading like all of the like Seneca, like letters to a Stoic, Seneca, and all of that stuff. It just, my really simple take on it all is just whatever happens, it's good. Like if all like I said before, if Virtus turns to shit in the next 12 months and like we get kicked out of the factory and like we run out of money or whatever, good. I get to, like, I've had 3 years of an amazing experience where I've been building something that I love. I'll just start it again. And it'll look a little bit different.
How are you looking at the situations you're in? Are you saying this really shit situation or this really shit day is just a shit day, or you're saying this is a lesson to be learned?
Yeah.
And being honest with yourself and saying, did I set this up? Because there are the odd occasions where just shit happens. Like, you getting rear-ended is not because you chose to not wait for another fucking half a metre at the light, sort of thing. Like, that's not your bad, but like,
you can let that ruin your day, or you can just say, shit happens.
Yeah, shit happens, but most of the time it's situations that we put ourselves in. Like, it could have been something we did a month ago, like cutting a corner at work, and then all of a sudden your boss calls you out, and you can go, what a fuckwit. You go, well, maybe I should have put the full effort into the task I was given.
Yeah.
Or like you were talking about these people that are like the pinnacle of success in their certain fields, and I think that's the issue. People go, and because of social media, we have such direct access to these people.
Yeah.
Especially people like Gary Vee, who's like on it all the time. You're basically in his life.
Yeah.
We see them and we go, well, that's the definition of success for me. But that, you got to realise they're the top 1% of the 1%.
Yeah.
And then you go, well, okay, well, he does this, and this, and then you're obviously only seeing a certain bit, but then people go, I'm not getting close to that. But you have a job.
Yeah.
He's 40 years old.
Go back to the first episode of Wine Library, right? And that was already after he'd been building up his family business. Yeah. And like, go back to him. He's a really good example because he talks about his story so often.
He does that well.
Go to any of his keynotes. For anyone that doesn't really dive into Gary Vee stuff, go to any of his long keynotes, and he talks about coming to America and being an immigrant, and not really talking English, and then figuring out who he was and what he was, and working every Saturday through his teens, and hustling on the side to sell baseball cards or whatever it was. And people don't see that side of all of that 1% of the 1%. Like, they don't see the probably hours and hours that Jordan Peterson sat writing his book. Like,
but have you seen in Jordan Peterson's talks when he talks about the hyper efficiency of these people?
Yeah.
It's on YouTube. I think it was one of his lectures. He's like, people don't understand how hyper efficient these people are. It's not just that they work hard. It's when they work, they're working at a level of efficiency that you don't have.
But I don't think that comes... But that, for a lot of those people, it wouldn't have come straight away. Like, it wouldn't.
No, it wouldn't have. But what I'm trying to say is people go like, well, I want to be Jordan Peterson. Yeah. So they'll go down and follow his path. But his IQ is like 160. So he's above genius level IQ. So straight out of the gate, I think it's like 95% of people are never going to be as smart as him.
Yeah.
And that's not to say don't chase that path, but you might not be a millionaire
because of it. That doesn't define success.
I think it's important.
And I think people go like, well, I want to be at the top of the pedestal. But like, which pedestal are you talking about? Because that's a worldwide stage that you're talking about being the top of. Why can't you be the best in Victoria?
Yeah.
But like, it doesn't, just because you're not going to get to be the best in the world doesn't mean don't pursue something. So when they hear things like Gary Vee works 16 hours a day sort of thing, but I've got to work at work and then I don't feel like putting in 6 hours after work. Well, don't put 6 hours in.
Yeah.
Put 1 hour in.
Yeah.
And you would be amazed at how much putting an hour in every single day is going to take you down.
Accumulate that and think about, well,
but you're still going to be 365 hours in front of the person who never started.
Yeah.
Which is what? How many weeks is that? Nearly 10 weeks? 9 weeks?
Yeah.
Imagine
if you got 10 weeks.
So imagine you think about the load of work you do in 20% of the year, just under 20% of the year, and at your job, and then you say you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But even that, it's like you don't have to be an insane internet sensation or like the best in your field overnight. It does take time.
Yeah.
I know Moments of Meaning is not going to go off overnight, but I believe, and I could be totally fucking wrong, that it will be a big thing one day.
Yeah.
But it's about that. It's the fact that I'm putting in the work now, and I'm seeing the results of it now. That people want me to make films for them, and make cinema for them.
Yeah, it's accumulation.
But it's not and I didn't expect that at the start. It was because I've put 18 months into it now.
Yeah.
And people have seen it. It's not just that, but people want to see you like earn your badge. They want to see that, all right, this guy's committed to it because he loves his craft. He's passionate about it. He's going to give me a good product, Or this girl slaved away after work for 4 hours a night to learn how to be an accountant, so now she's applying for this job, and that's why people do things outside of work.
Yeah.
So don't believe the argument that I don't have enough time. You can spend half an hour on something a night. If you're focused on that and you actually do like half an hour focused work, you will be amazed at how much progress you can make in a year.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the patience to sit through that for a year, then it's probably not for you.
Yeah. But you've got to find those things that are like
exactly.
One of the things that have helped me through, and like the cool thing about this is we just talk through our own experiences, right? Because we know what's worked for us or what we've seen work for other people. One of the things that I don't do as much as I would like now, but journaling at the end of the day or at the start of the next morning, even if you don't know what you want to do, you put all your thoughts down on paper. What's working, what's not, what do I like, what am I grateful for, whatever way you do it. It gives you a really nice sense of clarity because you can't write faster than you can think. So you have to sit there and actually think about and actually look at the words you're writing and actually go, okay, so here's what I'm struggling with, or here's what I want to work on, or here's where I'm actually at, because then you can use that the next day to, okay, maybe I need to spend a little bit less time watching TV, or maybe I need to spend a little bit less time doing this. Have you listened to the podcast How I Built This with Guy Raz? Something that when I first heard about it, I thought it was like a how is this thing built? How is a car built? And then after I can't remember how I got onto it, but I think it was right towards the end of my trip. I started listening to it, and it's conversations or interviews with business owners from big businesses, like the guy who started Vice, the guy who started Power Rangers. Who else is on there? There's like Patagonia, like heaps of the big ones. And there's a common theme between all of them, how close they all came to failure so many times before they actually, I don't like this term because I don't think it exists, but made it before they got to the point where other people would say they're successful. How close they all came to becoming nothing, like a lot of businesses do. And how much time and effort it took for them to get to being the big companies that people know them to be now. So I think it was a really nice reminder for me, where I know we're helping people every day, and I know we're doing what we set out to do, even though it's not on the scale that we want yet. It's really easy to forget that some days, and like hearing those stories of those big businesses and those owners who just do it because they love it and do it because they are passionate about it, come so close to failure but work through it, gives me real hope that whatever shit we have to like wade through, we'll get there. And like I'm sure you've had days with Happiness Project, and then as you change to Moments of Meaning where you're like, far out, is this worth it?
100%.
Yeah.
Had 2 weeks ago.
I go through about one a week at the moment.
Yeah, it's but like, and that's the other thing that the gripe I have with social media and these people that put themselves out there, these hyper successful people, is that very rarely do they show you them just going like, I can't be fucked doing an Instagram post. Like Gary Vee is good at that, but he thrives off it. So you'll rarely see him say, I can't be fucked. I don't think I've ever heard him say that.
That whole 1% of 1% thing, like he's an alien. He's
like very few people love business as much as he does. Like that is his thing.
Yeah.
And he admits that. He says, that's my hobby. That's my, fantasy league football that you go to. That's my drinking in the bar with my friends. So and I love that he said that. He's like, you got to realize that this is my passion. This is what I absolutely love doing. That's why it's not hard for me to spend 16 hours in the office. It's like, what do you love doing most in the world?
Yeah.
You're not going to have an issue doing it for 16 hours a day. And when you couple that with it supports him and, it gives him progress, and there's also the validation thing for how successful he's been, like, why wouldn't you do for 16 hours? But that's like when I talked to you about me getting in a van and fucking off and interviewing people for a year, people will go like, oh, it's successful because he's doing that, blah, blah, blah. And like, and I get questions like, how do you do it? It's easy because I enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes it is work, but most of the time, it's like if I've got a really good interview, I've sat down with someone, it's super fucking interesting, I'll run home and edit it that night.
Yeah.
If it's someone like, it's good, but it's, it's nothing groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Then like, I'm just going to be like, whatever, like it can wait.
Yeah.
And I'm bad like that, but at the same time, like, it's easy to be.
But then those ones that you don't like run home to do, you're still gonna get it done. And you're still gonna work through it.
I don't have anything written down, but I know how often I want to post, how often I want to put out content. I've never been late.
Yeah, and they're the standards you hold yourself to.
Yeah.
Like I know that tomorrow morning I got 6 a.m. till 10 a.m. coaching. I've got a group at 6, and I've got 3 1-on-ones after that.
Yeah.
And like, I'm so excited for that morning because I know it's going to be a fucking awesome morning. Like, I'm training a crew at 6, and then 3 amazing humans after that. I basically just get to hang out with and help make them better. Like, how good's that? Like, there's some days, won't be today because you're not that great to talk to, but some days I walk out of the podcast and like, I'm jumping out of my skin, like I've had 6 coffees because sometimes I have. But I'm just like bouncing off the walls, and like I'm so excited to just carry on with life because I know how much I love this. And I had that same feeling like with traveling, like coming down from Machu Picchu. I was just on a high. Like I didn't sleep till like 4 a.m. the next morning because I was so excited and so happy, and like I know that I'm putting myself in positions to feel that feeling more often because I'm doing what I love to do. And that makes all the slop, all the shit worth it because you know that's coming. Even if it might, like, I might not feel that way for another 6 weeks or 2 months or 3 months, but it doesn't matter. Exactly.
It doesn't matter at all. But I think just, it's when you feel it, and it's hard to explain to people, especially though, like the people we were talking about before, those people that are lost. It's hard to get into that with someone.
Yeah.
Because you don't know it. Like you probably didn't know that before Virtus.
No, well, I was talking to an intern asked me a question during the week. We've got 8 awesome mentorship students at the moment, and like young coaches who we get to teach why we do what we do and hopefully instill some of that passion on them. But one of them asked me how I got into coaching, and I've never really thought about that in that like simple, really simple question. But I was like classic exercise science student, love sport, all that kind of stuff. But I finished year 12. I wasn't a great student. I got by on my, I guess, whatever level of intelligence I had. I didn't necessarily try super hard at school. Like football was always my number one thing. But the only reason I started coaching so early was because I decided to have a gap year because I didn't want to go straight to uni. And that was when the government were pumping out cereal box PT certs. So I found a $500 cert 3, 4 and diploma of fitness and jumped in on it. So I got to the end of that and started coaching people. And, you know, all of the experience coaching, all the coaching hours I've had from then until now have been because I saw a little ad in the paper. And I think it's really interesting that, like, I probably would have ended up in somewhere, like probably somewhere around the same spot, but it's really interesting how one little moment can impact our life so much. And I think it's really easy to overlook those little moments. And my response, like after telling that little story back to the intern, it was like, be really mindful as you figure out who you are and what you want of those little moments and how important they are, because and try and enjoy all those little moments, like all the, like, that course wasn't super fun. Like, it was a good course. It was a lot of time piss farting around on my phone waiting for the days to end, but I think that started the journey of me figuring out what I wanted to do. And I've talked about it before on the podcast, but even though I enjoyed coaching and enjoyed what I did, I didn't figure out what I wanted to do till like late one Monday night in a lecture about ethics in my exercise physiology masters, where I'm like, this sucks. I don't want to be doing this. Like, this isn't me. This isn't what I want to be doing. And like, that was just an accumulation of a bunch of things that were happening. But I think about, I know what I want to do, and you know what you want to do, but think of all the shit you've gone through to get to this point, and all the times where you didn't know what you wanted to do, and all of the disappointments and all of the struggles and stuff like that. And now I get to go to work every day knowing that I love what I do. It's a really, really cool feeling. But it didn't happen overnight. Like that. It's that 20 years success, like overnight success. It took 20 years of work to get there.
Yeah, and I think that's missed so much. Like, so much. People just, again, you look at these people that are just just the elite of whatever you want to do or whatever field you respect.
Yeah.
And then you don't get to see them because nobody gives a shit about you when you're grinding it out and you haven't proven yourself yet.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's following that journey.
Yeah.
So you only see successful people, and I think people
when they're successful.
You only see it. You just get disillusioned because you didn't see them. Like, most of the super successful people you see are at least 35 plus.
Yeah.
Because they've just done that much shit work until they're at that, and they kept going.
Yep.
So, like, and, we all know people that start something and then just quit the next day. This is my thing now, and then, okay, it's a little bit harder than I thought.
And the next time you talk to them, they're doing something.
Yeah, because, there's that, I don't even know what it's called, but there's like a law, it's like a law of ignorance or something like that, or it's a law of knowledge or something like that. Basically, the more you learn about something, the more you learn that you don't know about something. The Dunning-Kruger
effect.
Is that it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a cognitive bias that the more intelligent you are, the more you doubt yourself, and the more you struggle with what you're doing, and the less intelligent you are, the less you know about a certain topic, the more you actually feel as though you know about it.
Yeah. Well, it's exactly the same as in my filmmaking.
Yeah.
So I thought, I saw something, I'm like, man, I could do that, and then I try and recreate it and go, holy shit, I don't know a thing.
Yeah, for me, it makes me appreciate people that are really fucking good at what they do so much more. Like, you see
once you've delved into a field.
Yeah, you see an awesome video. You see
Childish Gambino. This is America.
Mate. Yeah. What did you think of that?
I don't love the political messages.
Yeah.
I get it, but to be fair, the whole song, I love it. It's been on repeat for the last
same.
Last
I've been
week.
sending people video. Have you seen this yet?
Yeah, but I didn't understand all of it, but I read a couple of articles.
Did you
about
go?
it, and the symbolism in it is just so fucking powerful.
Yeah,
but even though I didn't even, there's little things he did in the dances in it, and there's little segments of Kanye music in it, only half a second sort of thing, but he's just alluding to all of it, and even the thing where he shoots the choir, and that was a reference to a what was it called? That was a reference to a racially motivated shooting and stuff like that.
Definitely.
And it was, I don't know, because it was so symbolic, and it wasn't basically just fuck racism. He was showing people it, and it was just so well done. But even from a cinematography point of view, for me, it was one shot.
Yeah, it's fucked.
That whole thing was one shot.
So incredible.
So just alright, go. You got 4 minutes. Don't fuck anything up. It's in, what's it called? Not Inception. Fucking, what was the other one? Leo. Where the American one, Tom Hardy, the one you got.
The Revenant.
The Revenant.
Yeah.
How that was all shot in natural light.
Yeah.
Shit like that. That's people go, oh well, that's fine. You just wait for the time of day until you go out there and do it. Because all the shooting I do is in natural light, but you get one cloud, and shots ruined.
And you'll start again.
Yeah.
And repeat
and obviously it's a
you
big
hear
deal.
things like there's a fight scene in Game of Thrones of the new season. Which is way too far away, but anyway, that took, I think, 56 days to shoot or something like that, and they, it's one of those little spoiler things, but it came out that it was a letter that the director sent to a couple of the actors, just remember, no one will know how long this took, when they're sitting there watching it in their comfy TVs and then cold nights and the long like times, but that like it's a really simple snapshot of how much effort and things go into things that we look at for 3 minutes, then move on with our lives. But back on that, this is America clip. Like I watched it and I went, he's trying to say so much here, and I watched it like 3 or 4 times, and I went,
you have to.
And then I jumped on YouTube and just went, this is America breakdown video, and it like talks through each little thing.
Like things like you didn't see, like the guy with the hood on riding the horse. That's an apocalyptic thing. The wrapping the guns up in the red velvet sort of thing. Just like didn't even see it, and his whole message about the media distracting people with the dancing and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but then the dancing in itself is like an ode to like the blackface actors that used to dress up.
Like when he executed the guy at the start, he was doing the Jim Crow era black cartoonist like impression of.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was called, but
black people. But
anyone can jump on YouTube and check it. But the like from the pants he was wearing were like a Confederate uniform to the 2 chains he had around his neck was like a reference to, I think, bondage or something like that. And like every little, like if you were to snap, like take
every single
pause
frame,
and every
had
frame,
something symbolic in it, but just like what was the other one? That the kids were safe because they were dancing along with him.
Yes, yeah.
Because they were basically towing the line.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. But and the cars at the end, how they were from the 1960s.
Yeah, it was like things haven't changed. Yeah. Oh mate, it was so incredible.
Just so I actually haven't been a fan of him. Like I know he's like everybody fucking loves him.
I've loved him
music
for ages.
But just like
I loved him before he was cool. How about that?
Wow. Okay. I thought we were in Mornington, not Fitzroy.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm riding my fixie home tonight. But like people like that, like doesn't matter whether it's him or someone I admire incredibly for his attention to details. Wes Anderson, I'm sure you'd be.
No.
You're not across Wes Anderson. What? Mate.
No.
So
don't even know the name. I know the name, but
so Wes Anderson is like, it's weird having a favourite director, but he's my favourite director of like all of my favourite top 10 movies. Most of them are Wes Anderson movies. Yeah. So things like Fantastic Mr. Fox, Rushmore, Grand Budapest Hotel, Life Aquatic, Steve Zissou. It's like he's just released Isle of Dogs, which I'm yet to see. But like you look through, like you can start watching a movie and know it's a Wes Anderson movie. Like just the way it's created, kind of similar to Quentin Tarantino.
But everyone has a style.
Kind of deal. Yeah,
that's a thing. Yeah. Like every single director has a style.
Yeah,
and it's so, and as the more I push into the sort of creative field, because I wouldn't have called myself a creative person at all.
Well, you don't like Wes Anderson, so obviously not.
No.
Guess what rabbit hole you're diving into over the next couple of weeks?
Well, obviously Wes Anderson. But like every single director has their own style, and it's just what you're comfortable with. Like I've done a few videos for gyms and stuff like that, and just I see it, the client's happy and stuff like that, but I'm like, it's just not the quality of me interviewing people that I do for Moments of Meaning. It's just not there.
Yeah.
For me, the quality just isn't there. Whether it's the editing style isn't the same or whatever it might be, I just don't have the experience in it. But just for me, that's obviously my niche. That's where I'm going. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I should get you in to do some client testimonials for us.
Happily.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
But it's just kind of like, I love that sort of, as dynamic as a creative field can be, you've got your fingerprint, like always, on your work.
Yeah. But as soon as you try and do too much, it's not you anymore.
Well, I think you need to. It doesn't matter what you're going to do. If you're going to be hyper successful in everything, you can't be like just an accountant. You need to be a GST tax accountant, or if you're going to be a coach, you need to be like, you need to be like, if you just want to be a coach, you don't want to own your own business, you need to be like specialising in like hamstring recovery or something like that.
Yeah,
or like I'm going to be an AFL.
I'm a strength and power guy, or I'm a rehabilitation guy, or I'm a helping girls be strong guy, or I'm a weight loss coach. Like it doesn't matter, but
like
that's the thing. Like,
or a doctor or something like that. If you want to be the best. And get, like, obviously you can only generalise so far. Like generalisation can only go so far because you hold so much information, and like we were saying, the Dunning-Kruger effect, the further you go into something, the more you realise you need to know.
Yeah.
And it just seems never ending.
Yeah.
Because I'll produce a piece I'm like really happy with. I look back at it a month later, I'm like, well, I could have done that better and that better.
But that's the best part about it, right? Like if I look at myself as a coach like my last 12 months has been fairly heavy business wise in terms of development. But if I look back at myself as a coach 12 months ago, like I am not going to be happy with a bunch of stuff I used to do. Like my coaching has changed significantly. Like I've done 4 or 5 big courses that have changed the way I look at coaching. And I think if we're not moving forward like that, and if we're not looking back at the things we were doing and being frustrated by where we're at, or not even frustrated, but if we're not looking back and going, I do it so much better now, then we're not moving forward and we're in trouble.
I think self-awareness is huge. I don't know if I've mentioned this in the past things, and I think that's actually one of the values of Stoicism as well. Again, and like you were saying before, with those little moments that are essentially trigger moments, but you miss them.
Yeah.
And you need to be self-aware.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do that unless you are naturally a very self-aware person, and some people are. And that's what I was saying before at the very start, to do with self-criticism and stuff like that. It can be helpful with those sorts of things, as long as you're not doing it to a point where it's, you're beating the shit out of yourself for no point.
Yeah, it's a really hard one. I think self-awareness is something that, like, one of the questions I've been asking in the podcast of late is what are a bunch of subjects that you'd put into schools if you had the chance to rewrite some of the curriculum. And emotional intelligence is one of the big things that keeps coming up. And I think if we were able to, because self-awareness is really hard, right? Like, I don't think you become self-aware properly, and I'm like still working on it. Even like it's an area of focus for me, like most days. But I don't think it becomes a realization of how important it is until you realize that your parents were right about most things. Like when you get to that point, you're like, yeah, they were right about most things, and you get out of that, I guess, mentality of I know how everything works. Then you can start really diving deep into self-awareness and figuring out what you actually find important, what you value, and where your passion lies, and what you love and what you don't love, and things like that. And I think it takes such a long time. Like, I'm only scratching the surface of it, but I feel as I've been working on it for 2-3 years. And yeah, it's really hard because it's so easy to fall back into the trap of, like, self-awareness isn't a normal thing within society, so it's really easy to fall back into the...
Not anymore. I would have argued that it would have been 30 years ago.
Yeah, okay.
I think interesting. I think the old smartphone tablet lifestyle, it covers all that up. Like when you were hiking in Patagonia, when you didn't have a phone on you and stuff like that, when you've got nothing else to do except stick free in your own mind, it's an environment that's conducive to self-awareness. But when you're watching TV all the time, or you're on a smartphone, you're just constantly feeding information.
What are the things you do day to day to help support or grow that self-awareness in yourself? Or is it something that you're actively thinking about?
I just look at myself through a lens that isn't, I guess, like I'm trying to evaluate myself in a way that someone else would.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, I probably don't do it that much with my personal life. I do it with my work, but I take extreme pride in my work. Not cabaret work, unfortunately, but this work. But I just try and reflect on how things were. But usually, like, I find I'm pretty good in my personal life. But that's also, like, I don't have a girlfriend or anything like that, so I got no one to really call me out on shit. But it's more the fact that I don't do much in my life that makes me go, like, why the fuck did I do that? And I'm not overly irrational. I've always been, Mum said, like, even since I was like fucking 4 years old, I'd sit there, I'd be quiet for 5 minutes, and I'd pop out a question that a 4-year-old shouldn't be asking.
That you've been thinking about, yeah.
Yeah, so I just sit there and I dwell on things, and that's probably why I am so pessimistic, but it also leads me down. That is often reflected back at myself. So, which is good and bad. But so self-reflection personally is something that's more or less come naturally to me, but every so often I'll catch myself with basically, for lack of a better term, with my head up my ass.
Yeah.
And I'll have to really think about, like, why I'm doing that. Like, why am I angry at my brother for not washing his plates when I am pretty shit at that myself? Yeah. Like, am I actually mad at him for that, or am I pissed off at myself because something else has gone wrong? And, and that's something that it doesn't happen too often. With, like you said, self-awareness isn't like a huge I just don't think it's a value that has a huge amount of precedence in society at the moment.
Have you read The Power of Now?
Yes. I listened to the audiobook, didn't like it.
Didn't love it?
Just because of his voice. Just like
it's funny how that can make or break an audiobook.
It can.
Really can. I always listen to the little 30-second bit, and I'm like, if I don't like their voice,
I bought it on recommendation from a friend, and it was just like some fucking weird dude that all I was imagining some dude with like massive dreadlocks.
Does Eckhart Tolle read it, or is it someone else?
Eckhart Tolle reads it.
Yeah, okay.
So I know he's like a space cadet. So
yeah,
but I'm not huge on that spiritual stuff.
But one of my favourite quotes from him is whatever you think the world is withholding from you, you are withholding from the world. So I think that's a really interesting one for me, because I think if there's something that's bugging you about someone else, usually it's just a reflection on where you're at. And if you're frustrated with someone not working hard enough, or someone doing something that you don't agree with, there's a good chance that you're doing the same thing. And I think that's a really, like, from a self-awareness point of view, I try and be hyper vigilant in being aware of what I get frustrated at and what I get annoyed at. And I've found that's reduce my frustrations and annoyance, because I go, okay, this is why. Like, so you understand it, you start to see it from the other point of view, you start to wear someone else's shoes. This is why they did that. Okay, what did I do, or what did I not do to add to that situation or to exacerbate that situation? And I find, like, with stuff that would have bugged me 12 months ago, I feel so much more at peace to be able to sit down and make a decision, or to be able to talk through something less emotionally than I would have 12 months ago. Because when you realise that people are just trying to do their best, and I'm a big believer of that.
Me too.
And people are trying to do the right thing most of the time. If you look at the world with that lens, then you tend to be a little bit more accepting of how people act, which is a hard one, because you want to draw the line of what's acceptable and what's not acceptable.
I think that's an important line to draw.
Definitely.
Because I think I think more on a societal level, things get to a point where it's just like, how the fuck did it get to here? Because people, like, it's just that giving that inch at a time to all of a sudden just like, well, how the fuck are we here?
Yeah.
And I think people are giving concessions too much.
Yep.
And that comes down to that lack of accountability. Sorry.
Yep.
I think,
and we can't expect everyone to have the same level of awareness or wokeness.
Not at all.
As the thought leaders,
sometimes you have to be, and it's not a fun conversation to have, but if it's someone you care dearly about, maybe you need to talk to them and just say, look, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing with your life at the moment?
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's not they're the ones lacking self-awareness, and self-awareness can be thrusted upon you by someone calling you out.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And obviously you hope that they come from a point where they're trying to give you some sort of constructive frame for you to build upon, rather than them just being an arsehole.
When do you know it's the right time to have that conversation? Because I think it's really important to...
Well, they've got to be receptive to it. There's just some people that won't.
So you got to know...
There's one person in my life who I know just doesn't do anything to benefit themselves.
Yep.
And it's hard to see. And honestly, it's frustrating for me. And I was actually thinking about this when you were saying this whole, like, we sort of give out to the world what we feel like we're not giving, or whatever we were saying.
Yep.
Because I see myself working, my normal job, and then doing hours in front of a computer editing videos and trying to find clients and all this sort of stuff to build a life. But this person complains to me about how they're not finding a passion or a purpose, and I just don't see them doing that thing.
Yep.
So is it that, or is it just me? Just because I don't like that bullshit. Because I see people wasting time and stuff like that, and just I used to be that person. Not that I'm better than that now. I have days like that, but just like, there has to be a point where you've got to go, well, maybe I'm not working hard enough.
Yeah.
And sometimes you've got to be thrust into the situation where you have to be there and you have to work hard. There's not a choice. And then you realise, like, I actually do have the capability to do this.
Yeah.
So, and that's actually what's happened to me over the last, 6 weeks, where I've been, getting clients and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, actually 2 weeks ago, I bit off way too much more than I can chew.
Yep.
So to cancel all my social plans, but I got it done.
Yeah.
On the time I said I'll get it done. Then it showed me that, oh, wow, I actually can do this if I make it a priority.
Yeah.
So then I see people in, like, you know, everywhere that just go, like, I don't have time, you know, whatever it might be, or it doesn't fit into my schedule and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, but like you said, life's a game of priorities.
Yeah.
And then if you have the priorities sorted the right way, and like I have my priorities out of whack most of the time, but it's not a continual out of whack. It's going back one way and then going back the other way. Like I go on a 7-week holiday and don't work, or I work 18 hours a day and don't spend time with KP, or I go, shit, how do I find more time to spend with KP? And then it's that constant battle. And I think it was a Richard Branson quote that I read once. It was about balance, and it was about there's no balance. It's just constantly going from side to side.
I think balance is a low.
Trying to figure it out.
I think, unfortunately, and again, maybe that self-awareness, I think we sort of chase what seems most important at the moment.
Yeah.
I think most of life is just putting out fires. Not in a bad way. It's not like, you know, that's a bad thing. But
putting out fires is a negative connotation. So I think you need to change the language about that, but then change like a couple of my like really close friends and mentors, like a couple of Confo guys like Sammy and Tommy. One of the things and Ben, one of the things they talk about is seasons, and you just have a season in your life. So like I had a season in my life where I had to work really, really hard when I became a sole business owner, and I had to go, holy shit, this is all on me now. And that was a really important time in my life, but I got to a point where, okay, this isn't my focus anymore. Like, this isn't my focus. This isn't where I'm at anymore. Now I can focus on work and put a little bit more effort into my friends and family. And then it was, you know, this kind of 6 months when I booked the trip to going away, it was, all right, I've got to really knuckle down now and figure out how we're going to grow this thing. And then while I was away, it was like my season was, all right, I'm in a just letting myself be kind of mentality, and I was reading when I wanted to read, I was calling home when I wanted to call home, I was meeting new people when I wanted to meet new people and connecting, and I think that all came from self-awareness of just understanding that this is where I'm at now. Like, if certain areas of my life have got to take the back seat, like if you asked me maybe 5 years ago where like how important football was to me, and asked me now, like it's going to be complete polar opposites, which is really hard. It's a hard thing to admit, but that self-awareness has allowed me to realise that footy for me now isn't I'm going to put as much time as possible in. It's going to be, I want to be as effective as possible with the time I do put in to come out of it, because like we spoke about before, you got 168 hours in a week. You got to figure out where things are going to fit, because you can't fit it all. And that's been a really important thing for me to realise as someone who wants it all and wants it all to work. That there's always going to be something that's going to give. And yeah, sometimes it's going to be work, sometimes it's going to be time with KP. As much as that hurts, like being aware of that helps us work through it. Yeah,
but I also think people aren't willing to make sacrifices.
Yeah.
When that priority game comes in, it means you have to sacrifice watching TV to work.
Yeah.
So I think, and that's self-awareness as well. Have the self-awareness to go, well, I'm not working as hard as what's his face, so I'm probably not going to get as far.
But yeah.
Not in a negative way, just don't. I think we expect a lot, and maybe don't always. And I'm bad at this, and then don't always.
You read that book?
No, you were reading it last time.
It's my favourite book, Principles by Ray Dalio. I talk about it all the time. Yeah. He's released a 30-minute, 8-part series.
Yeah.
Going through the main principles in the book. So if you don't want to actually sit down and read it, it's amazing. But one of his quotes is, "You can have anything you want, but you can't have everything you want."
Yeah.
And that hit me right.
Well, it's true.
Smack bang, in the middle of my face. I'm just like, holy shit, that's my life. We lost footy yesterday, and it sounds weird, we haven't lost in 12 months. So last May was the last game we lost. We've been very successful for a long period of time, and it really hurt. It really, really hurt. And I'm just trying to sit there and think, well, fuck, okay, what could I have done differently in my preparation and in my week and things like that? And I'm yes, I could have played better on the day. That like we played rubbish as a team, but then personally, I'm like, well, maybe I need to spend a little bit more time playing, like training and spending more time in the gym doing rehab and things like that. And it kind of coupled on to where I'm feeling with work and life at the moment. Like before I left for my trip, I spent way too much time at work, not looking after myself, not sleeping enough, not drinking enough water, not eating enough food, all that kind of simple stuff. And my big focus now, like my season I'm in, whatever, is looking after myself. Like I went home last week on a Wednesday at 11:30, which I haven't done for ever. Like I don't really give myself a day away from work unless I'm doing something like this on a Sunday. And I just went home and like watched a couple of episodes of the new Karate Kid series, and like that was me giving myself time for me and looking after myself before I went to footy that night, and I felt amazing for the rest of the week. So I think that's important as well.
Yeah, and it's very easy, and I've been doing that over probably I'd say the last 3 weeks. It's just work, like literally just work.
Yeah.
Work, eat, sleep.
Yeah, and if you're aware of that, then that's okay. But the problem is
I made the effort last night to sit down and go, okay, I've got my apartment to myself. I'm just going to watch 2 hours of TV. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
I'm just going to sit here, have a beer.
How'd you feel afterwards?
Amazing. Slept like a fucking baby. Didn't go to bed going, oh, I should have done a little bit more work, or I could have done this better, I could have done that better, sort of thing. So that's important. That's important to do. But like you were saying with balance, you've got to sort of, you do need to temper that with like, do I actually deserve this? Like for me, I was getting to the point where I started putting out not the quality of work I wanted because I'd just been grindstone, just fucking banging my head against the wall, like I've got to get this done. And then,
how do you answer that question though? Like, what do you come back to when you say, how do I deserve it? What thought process do you go through to decide whether you do deserve it or not?
That's multifaceted. So for one, I just realised like what I'd done over the, because I was editing and doing my thing in the morning, and then I was like, I looked back at it and I was like, this is shit. This is just shit. I'm just not thinking clearly. Like that transition shouldn't have gone there. That piece of footage shouldn't have gone there. That should have gone at the end. Yep. So then I took the self-awareness to go like, maybe I need to step away from this because this is all I've been doing for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And then just going, then I literally just sat back and gone, do you know what I haven't done in ages is just fucking sit back and relaxed.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you can relate to that.
I go through that a little bit.
It's all really well and good to be motivated, but that motivation can die pretty quickly, as well as your discipline if you don't give yourself a little bit of time.
Just go back to the triangle from before, thanks, mate. Yeah. Discipline, inspiration, motivation.
Yep. They can all die. That triangle could collapse pretty.
But then what? Like you just got to look up. Like you realise that holy shit, I've been burning the candle at both ends. I've been pushing the envelope too much. I need to go, and you go back the other way too much, and you go, holy shit, I'm not working hard enough.
Well, that's the thing. And that's why balance is such a good word, and it is like the word at the moment I see floating around, like work-life balance. But I also think people indulge in that. I'm relaxing. I'm living a balanced lifestyle, and that is 110% okay if you are genuinely happy or content with the life you live. If you love your job and you want to come home and be the best family man you can, or best husband, wife, brother, roommate, whatever it might be, and that's what your focus is, then all power to you. But don't come home and go like, I'm not where I want to be in life, and then watch TV and go, it's just balance because I had a day at work. That's sort of stoicism that I love, absolutely love, and that's why I love people that just get stuff done and they're not complaining about it. They're just do. This is what I want, and I'm gonna. And again, it doesn't matter if you get there in 6 months, 6 years, 60 years. As long as you keep making progress, that's the thing that counts the most for me. Or even if you don't make it, and you give it a solid crack. But I see a lot of people that just sort of, dabble in toes in the water,
hit a hurdle or two, and then stop.
It's a bit too hard basket, and then just move on. And there are going to be things that always, in life, there are things that will be too hard, and there will be hurdles that you won't be able to cross alone anyway.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes we're a little bit quick to see certain things and go, that's a hurdle, when it's not really.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of look at it if I'm being... when I'm trying to figure out, am I working hard enough, or am I working too hard, or am I looking after myself enough, whatever, I revert back to what's my mission and what's going to help me get there. like I said, I think I said it before when you were doing your little intro, like our mission is really simple. It's just to make the world a better place, and we do that one person at a time. And it's like we want to create an environment where people can come and feel comfortable and get from where they are now to where they want to be. So if I'm seeing a lot of people that are working too hard, not looking after themselves, then I kind of reflect on, well, am I doing that? And am I working, not giving myself enough time to relax? Or am I like trying to sleep 5 hours a night and tell myself it's okay? And if I am, okay, I need to chill out, because like I can't help anyone if I'm like in a pile, like sleeping on the couch like every minute of the day where I'm not working. So, but then there's certain times, like I'm sure, like right now I'm in the I need to look after myself a little bit better stage, but I'm sure I'll kind of get sick of taking half days off and stuff like that and go, you know what, I just need to work more.
Yeah. You sort of hope that you hit the balance eventually, where you're taking care enough to be able to work enough to maybe maintain it. Because I personally love the idea of it not being seasonal, the consistency. But, like the only thing consistent is that it doesn't happen like that. There'll be like a month of just solid work, and then the next month will be a little bit quieter, and then the next month will just be like solid work, and then just like, or like I'll have a week where I'm just nailing it. Diet's perfect, been to the gym 5 times this week, it's great, you know, I've been doing yoga and I've been taking care of myself, meditation, I've been reading enough, and then like, but then I'll go like, well, you know, at the same time as there is, you know, we all get the same amount of hours in the day. It depends like how many things you're juggling. So if your sole concern is work, then obviously, you know, that's
you're gonna spend more time.
That's a lot easier for you to juggle than like, I want to have a successful business. I want to be, you know, I want to have a really good diet, which obviously involves cooking and cleaning and all that sort of stuff. Definitely. I want to, you know, be really involved with my relationships. There is only so much you can put on that plate.
Yeah.
But I think that's why it tends to be seasonal, because it's sort of like, it's like the spinning plates. So you spin one, that's good, and then you're, oh shit, that one's a little bit out of whack, so you run over and fix that one, and then all of a sudden you're still doing laps. Yeah. But I'd love it to be like, and that's the thing I'm not good at.
Do you think it'll ever happen?
I don't think so. I don't even know if it is that possible.
I don't think it is.
I think that's why people get, you know, assistants and all that sort of stuff. So you've taken that out of your mind. It's just you get someone to tell you, like, I've set up this meeting at 12 to 1. You're leaving at 1:05, so you can say your goodbyes for 5 minutes. You're leaving at 1:05, so you can get here by 1:30, sort of thing. And then you get other people to do that. I think that's a lot to juggle as a single person.
100%. It's just structure. And I think, like, for a single person, you'll get to that ceiling of, okay, I'm dealing with as much stuff as I can deal with. And for me to get to that ceiling, it's just habits. It's creating habits. It's around, like, my habits I'm working on at the moment are, I'm a couple deep, right? So like I hit one habit, I had one focus for a couple of months, which was getting up at 5 a.m. every morning that I'm working, which is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Friday. And then I get up at 7 on the other days, sleeping on Sunday. So like that's my habit of just continuity. And I think I've kind of sorted it. Like I've been very, very consistent with that because it was a focus. And then the next one on top of that becomes food and water, making sure that that's ticked off, and then it's movement, and then, like, you know, hopefully I can get to the end of the year and kind of have those habits set in stone so much that I don't really have to worry about that little triangle from before. Like I don't have to worry about the discipline, I don't have to worry about the inspiration, the motivation, because it's just what I do. And I think knowing that all of that struggle, all of the, like, it's fucking hard getting up in the morning in the middle of winter at 5 a.m.
It's not fun.
No, but knowing all of that, like, is going to result in me getting where I want to get to quicker, makes it all easy and makes it all worthwhile. Yeah. And makes it so that it's like, even though it's a struggle, it's not a struggle. And the hard stuff isn't that hard. It's just, you just got to do it.
And I think the mistake most of us makes is we compare ourselves to the guy next to us. And I know a really good gym down in Mornington that has that on their wall. Comparison is a thief of joy.
Comparison is a thief of joy.
So I think, like, I could, like, easily look at you and go, well, look, he's got a super successful business, and, you know, I don't yet. But I could look at that and go, like, blah blah blah. He's got this reason for doing it. He got this reason. He started out with someone else. All this sort of stuff. Or you could just sort of, again, that accountability, just sort of go, the double. You could have the accountability to go, well, Lockie works harder than me, so maybe I need to up my game. But again, so it's priorities.
For me, it's just because, like, I can go through all the reasons, like, from a personal point of view, why I don't think my business is successful, which is a really interesting one. I'm sure you could do that with most business owners would say, not.
Relativity is actually something I've been cracking onto recently. And that is through talking to now it's nearly been about 200 people.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a lot of people.
Very cool. So it's been
almost 500
roughly 3 people a week for 18 months. Whatever that runs out to.
Don't know, mate.
I think so.
You work
roughly 3 a week. But
it's over 200 people.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't think I'm quite at 200. Last I checked.
Maybe at 2.5 a week or something.
Maybe. I said roughly. But I think that's the thing I've learned is that everybody's experiences are relative.
Yeah.
I've met people that go on through absolutely horrid things. One of the guys I interviewed recently got told he was 27, so a year older than me, dying from brain cancer.
That's
inoperable brain cancer.
Yeah.
It's not super aggressive, but it's going to take his life eventually. It's resting on the base of his spine and his spinal cord. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Done the chemo, done all that, come back every time. But what he said was it wasn't a matter of if I live for the next 20 years. Sorry, it wasn't a matter of... It was actually a weird way of putting it, but it made perfect sense. He said it's not a matter of if I live or die tomorrow, which is what a lot of us do worry about. What if I'm hit by a car? It actually gave him a long-term perspective because he said he's been given maximum 15 years. He's like, well, what if I get that full 15 years? What am I going to do with it?
That's pretty cool.
So that's something you don't think about. But then the thing that relative experience, and I've talked to people that have and not diminishing these things, I'm saying it's all relative. They'll have social anxiety, or they'll just have they argue with their mum a little bit. Not full-on fights or anything, they just argue with their mum so they don't think they have an experience. These things are all relative. Like you were saying, you could speak to any business owner
and they
tell you
why they're not successful.
That person's super successful, and they'll go, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
I need to do this better, or this better. It's so fun. Relativity is probably the biggest thing I've learned. It's so funny.
It's really interesting because I think the most important thing that I see is people that comparison, but 3 words, just you do you. We're all on different journeys that intersect and cross over, and we might be running alongside someone for a period of time, but at the end of the day, we're running our own race. So we need to figure out what are the things that we do that serve us, and what are the positions we put ourselves in, and what's the self-talk that what are the things we tell ourselves day in, day out that are based on who we are, not who someone else is. And if we go full circle back to the purpose of meaning that we talked about at the start, if you're asking those questions about you and not thinking about anyone else, then you're going to end up in a good spot, and you're going to end up being your version of successful and being where you want to be, and not necessarily having to worry about what someone else is doing. One of the things that I'm really big on with all local businesses and even gyms and stuff around us is we're not competing. I'd rather collaborate than compete. I'd rather, because everyone does it for more or less the same reasons. They want to help people. Yes, there's a part of the population that start businesses to make bulk cash and drive fast cars and do all that stuff.
Not people businesses though.
Yeah, but that's exactly
what you're in.
Yeah, and all the people businesses are there get really close to the Common Folk Boys or the Jetty Road Boys, and they're all there to create a community of people that are able to experience and enjoy the things that they create just as much as they do. And I think when you look at it like that, then it becomes one of us wins, we all win kind of scenario, rather than it's an us versus them. And that's been something that's helped. Going away has helped a lot with I use the term getting out of the bubble and helicoptering over the business from a management or business sense, and looking at everything and how it's working and going, is this serving our mission? If yes, awesome, how can we optimize that? If no, okay, how can we change it so that it is? And that's as simple as it is for me. Everything will come from now on, because I got stuck in I guess the emotions of it for a long period of time. Everything now comes back to that. As simple as that. Are we serving our purpose or not? And that's it. And that's taken a long time to get to that point. And
I think it always does.
Yeah.
You meet so few people that go, I've got my purpose sorted.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter where they are. And like you said earlier, it can change. It can shift all the time.
So what your purpose is now might not be it tomorrow. Like with me with my project, my purpose was spreading, awareness and that sort of stuff about happiness.
But it's changed, right?
It's just sharing human experiences.
Yeah. Which in itself does that, in a way.
Yeah, it does. I guess it does. It's a different side of the same coin. But I think like purpose is a huge one. I think people lack it a lot, but more, it's something you create, not something you find.
Yeah.
I think you can find meaning, but you can create purpose.
Ooh. Put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, so
that's pretty good. I really like that, because too many people look for purpose 100%. And search for purpose, but like look at what you're doing and what I'm doing. It started out as an idea, and like you go all the successful businesses, like even all the people that I know who are running successful businesses would say the same thing. Like it started out as an idea and it adapted and it evolved and it changed. And even though we look back at why we started, it's pretty similar, but it's different. It's not the same. No. And it's changed from what it was 12 months ago to what it is now.
Yeah.
Maybe not changed. It's evolved. It's evolved. Like.
Trying to think of a good way to put it. It's like a metaphor. I'd say it's like, this is going to sound really gay. It's like a pond.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
It's like a pond, okay?
Like what kind of pond?
I'm trying to think of a structure that stays essentially the same, but you can change the inside of it. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Change the perception of it.
Okay, so it's an ecosystem.
Yeah.
Hey, KP.
How are you, invisible person?
Talk to me about your pond.
Huh?
Talk to me about your pond.
I'm trying to make a good metaphor, but it's not coming to me.
I want to know where you're going. I'll see if I can help.
No, it's not going anywhere. It's got nothing. I was trying to be really deep and meaningful, but I got nothing. I'm about as deep as my pond, my non-existent pond.
It's one of those shell pools.
Yeah, but I put like put some sand at the bottom, like everyone's having fun. No, I know what you mean, because that general structure is there, and the overall goal hasn't changed, but the actual, I guess, the ins and out from the daily sort of perspective have changed so much. That's where the big difference is, but there is no big difference.
Yeah, because every client we see, every group we take, every day where we have less people than we want, or every problem that a client has that they come to us with, allows us to modify what we do. So it allows us to find a better way of doing it, and it allows us to find a more efficient way of, whether it be communicating with clients, or whether it be growing our membership base, or whether it be putting stuff on our social media. It allows us to find a better way to create value and impact the people that we want to create value for and impact. So I think one of the things that I find is really, really important is to listen. And I suck at listening on the best of times, but it's something that I've identified. KP's nodding. It's something that I set the goal at the start of the year to ask better questions, right? And I've tweaked that goal a little bit. It's ask better questions, but to make sure I stop and properly listen to the answers, and then figure out where we go from there. So I think if you can, we all have a story to tell, and we all have our own experiences that can help the wider community figure out how to get to where you want to get to. So I think it's really important it doesn't matter who you are, it's really important to listen to the people around you as to what their experiences are, and what their wins are, and what their losses are, and figure out how they actually, if it's someone you seem like you look at and go, they're really successful, okay, how did they get there? And they're probably going to tell you that it sucked a fair chunk of the time. And you look at someone who isn't where they want to get to, and it's like, okay, why do you feel this way? And you can listen and figure out, and help them figure out. And because everyone thinks they know the solutions to everyone else's problem, but I think the only way people...
Do you think they're just trying to say that because they don't know the solutions to their own problem?
Yeah, 100%. But the only way to figure out those solutions is to yes, some people are able to go deep within themselves and figure it out. But most people figure it out by just talking through it and just communicating and going, okay, this works, this doesn't work, whatever. one of my favourite quotes, and I've said it 1,000 times on this podcast, but it's like, your hindsight is my foresight. So yes, we all have to make mistakes because that's what allows us to grow and adapt, but we can learn from other people's mistakes, and it's much easier, quicker, and a lot less painful than making your own mistakes.
And that's the thing about listening, is you get to, and that's the one thing that human beings in general have advantage over everybody else, is we can learn from other people's experiences.
Yeah.
Which is so rare, but we're not very good at it at the moment. And the thing that I find is people are, again, going back to that 1% of the 1%, is you look at your Jordan Petersons, your Gary V's, whoever it might be, and you go like, what's their experience? And then they'll give you, because they are appealing to such a mass audience, they're going to give you a generalistic sort of idea, because it needs to appeal to as many people as possible. But if you, Lachlan Wallace, as a new business owner, wanted to go down and talk to someone, you would have been better off just marching into a gym in, Rosebud that's relatively successful, and you go, hey mate, can you give me
what's
pointers? And I would say 90% of people would just give you a good hour of their day.
100%.
If you've catched them on when they've got that hour.
Yeah.
And just help you. Like, most people are, like you said, trying to do their best. Most people are good people, and they're more than willing to give you a hand. Yeah. Especially in these sorts of fields where it's not a competition. It's not about, I help more people than you. It's about making the most impact for the people that you have in front of you.
Definitely.
And if you genuinely care about your goal of helping people, you're considering that new business that's in the same sort of field an ally.
Yeah, and I think that's a really simple, like from an access point of view. If you know someone, or if you see someone doing something you want to be doing, or if you see someone doing something that you think might be for you, go and talk to them, because 99% of people are going to want to help. They're going to want to give you their time. They're going to want to try and impart some of their knowledge. Like I talked about him before, I talked about the book before and the animated series before, but Ray Dalio is one that, like, at the start of the series, at the start of his book he talks about it, but at the start of the animated series it goes half an hour, it'll take half an hour of your time, it'll change your life. He talks about the fact that he's at the age now where he wants to start imparting knowledge onto other people. And I think if, like, Gary Vee's a big one for it, like he'll spend heaps of time replying to messages and things like that, and I think people who have figured it out, and I did the old air quotes with my fingies. People that have figured it out want to help other people figure it out, and you realise the struggle. Yeah.
It's almost like a parent sort of thing. You don't want to see your kids go through the crap that you had to go through. So you try your best to make things.
Yeah. So every generation wants to make the next generation better and better.
And even that's even a business generational thing. So it's, and like we were saying, like, people are generally good. People want to help. Like most people have an amazing community spirit.
Yeah.
Like, some people are unfortunate enough to have experiences that sort of drain that out of them, but most people want to help.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of the biggest strengths of Virtus is your community. I'd say it's probably your biggest strength. You've got an amazing knowledge base and everything, and that's an asset, but you've got an amazing community behind you. Yeah, and we got some really cool people who will come to us when they're struggling with stuff, and if we can help, if we can't, like, it doesn't matter where to support them. Like, I'll have former interns come to me and say, how'd you do this? How'd you do this? Like, I have all the time in the world for people that want to ask those questions, because I look, like, even now when I'm going through problems, I just ask my mentors and the people I look up to and the people who have gone through it before, and I get really good answers. So I have all the time in the world for people who are in a position where I was 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, or 5 years ago, because I know what it's like, and I know that I had some amazing people that I was able to ask questions of, get really insightful, helpful answers, and then move forward with what I'm doing. And I think everyone's exactly the same in terms of, like, those people who might ask those questions of me now will be in a position in 2, 3, 4, 5 years that the next group of coaches that are coming through are going to be able to ask them questions. And then you create an environment where the best ideas win, and you create an idea where people doing the right things win, and you create an environment where people who are doing the right things for the right reasons end up hanging around for a long time, because they're actually helping, and they're actually making a difference. They're actually improving the world around them, which is why we're all here, I think. And I think that's why it's such a common theme for coming, because obviously we're hanging pretty heavily on purpose and meaning in this podcast, but like, I'd say a good 3/4 of the people that I know that have purpose and meaning in their life are helping others. Yeah. And I think that comes back to what we were saying before, that we're community-based beings. Like, that gives you such a sense of joy, security, love, and that purpose and meaning, like when you're helping someone else. Yep. Again, like you can say, people. There's that argument for altruism that we had at the start, where like it makes you feel good. So how altruistic are you really being? But just like, so what? Like if you've genuinely helped someone, what's wrong with getting a little bit about it? Like if you feel good, if you have the right to be proud of yourself if you've 100%. Helped someone.
Yeah.
And I think that's it's so important, and it's something that it's still there, but it's just not really valued. Like in terms of like social media and all those sorts of things, like it's just not. It's not sensational again, but that's stuff.
I can kind of see, like, I feel as though we're going to overcorrect that way and go really heavy into the gratitude and appreciation and
all right, I'm seeing it already.
Yeah,
I'm seeing it already, but it's false. From what I've seen people leading into it, and it's becoming quite a buzzword.
But here's the thing: like, it's completely like each individual. And one of our coaches, Katie, said this to me once, and I really like the way she said it. It's completely your decision who you follow and who you don't. So if you're following, 100%. Nothing against them personally, but if you're following the Kardashians, then you're probably
they suck.
They do suck.
They're fucking brilliant though. They're so smart. I don't think they don't get nearly enough credit for how smart they are
in terms of marketing and
like if you want textbook marketing. Say you can say they're dumb as dog shit or whatever you want, and I would never watch them, but just. You can't say they're not selling products.
But if you that's exactly it. But if you decide to follow them and then all of the people that are trying to be like them, or you try and follow someone like your mate Jordan Peterson and then all the people who believe similar things to him, or like for me it's people like Aubrey Marcus and Joe Rogan and Alex Sharfin and those kind of people who For those at home, KP is sitting next to me, and she's
sitting next to you. She's about 3 inches away from you.
She walked in about 10 minutes ago and has said nothing, and then was just like creeping on the
just
looking at the computer and lurking.
Absolutely lurking.
Do you want to say hello to everyone at home?
Hey everyone.
So when you're listening to this in the car in a couple of weeks, you'll say hello to yourself. That's cool.
Yeah. I was upstairs laying down with my head on the pillow, using Reese's jacket as a blanket. Cute. Lights off. And then Reese's parents came up and I scared his dad.
There you go.
He didn't know I was there. He was like, holy shit.
Good from you. Good contribution.
Thanks.
What were we talking about?
I completely forgot. Kardashians.
Yeah. So I was talking about you're completely in charge of who you follow and who you don't. So I think it's a really, really simple one for me, is just to make sure that I am putting the people in my feed that I will either learn something off, that will either inspire me to be better, that will motivate me to keep helping people, that will instill the discipline in me to like wake up at 5 a.m. every morning and get to work and help as many people as possible, then I'm doing social media the right way and doing it as well as I possibly can. And I think if I and we do that most of the time, then we can stop looking at social media as like that elephant in the room and start to use it for positive means and start to actually utilize the benefits of it rather than bitching about the negatives of it. Because I think a lot of people have their negative views or have their ways of looking at social media that are less than beneficial to society, but as far as I'm concerned, it ain't going anywhere, and it's not necessarily going to change, but how we use it will determine the outcome. Like anything, I think we can watch TV and we can watch rubbish. We can watch our old mates, the Kardashians, for hours on end and we get nothing out of it, or we can sit there and watch David Attenborough documentaries and
All Moments of Meaning.
Or we can watch something that's actually going to make us think, or make us look at different parts of the world, or make us, get us out of the same kind of thought processes that we get stuck into, and actually challenge our way of thinking, and that's going to make us better people. Same with books. It's I
don't think we're good enough at challenging our thinking.
Yeah.
I think it's uncomfortable and it sucks. And that's like the argument for accountability. It's really hard to be accountable to yourself when you haven't been living a life that is. Because that's a big shift.
Yeah.
Because then it comes back to that self-awareness where you got to call yourself out. Basically.
Which is hard, right? We
and
all
just go, well, maybe I haven't been working that hard, or, you know, maybe I'm not a good boyfriend, or, you know, maybe I should have cooked that meal. Not talking to anyone in this room. But, you know, I have a personal gripe with the whole Kardashian thing. Just in terms of, like, mentorship is something that's a little bit... I think it's getting better, but I think it's something that hasn't been overly prevalent on a broader scale for a while. I think it's sort of coming to the forefront again now because we've sort of realised how important it is. But, like, those sorts of... When people like the Kardashians and stuff like that are idolised by young people because they don't realise that it is essentially they're just marketing tools.
Yeah.
And virtually everything they do is paid for.
Wait, so if I wear a waist trainer, I'm not going to look like Kim Kardashian?
Unfortunately not.
Oh, shit.
I'm going to drop a bombshell because she's actually had a bit of work done. I found that out from a very reliable source. Let's just call him Yeezy. But I worry when I see that the focus on that sort of stuff, and they are so big, and it's more just like young men and women think that's the way to meaning in your life.
Yeah.
And again, it's that 1% of the 1%.
Yeah.
You're not going to get there. You're not going to get there in life.
Yeah.
Like, unfortunately.
Yeah. And that's exactly
like,
it.
it's more just the fact that it encourages that lifestyle. But it's more just, you know...
But it encourages a lifestyle without all of the sacrifice and hard work.
They don't
and things
show
like
that. They're not like your Gary
exactly.
Vees. They don't show the fact that, you know, their makeup might look amazing for that promotion, but they also spent 6 hours in a makeup room sitting there while someone fucking touched up their face.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever watched an episode, so I can't tell you what they actually show.
It's amazing TV, mate. It's amazing TV. But even just like, I've actually done a little bit of research on it in terms of like, because it fascinated me as to why they're so popular, but they're cut every 6 seconds because the average attention span is 6 seconds. So there's a new camera.
Really like that. I like just being aware of that and showing that it's not a one frame for the whole show like This Is America is. It's here to there to there to there.
It's a psychological thing.
Like, what's next?
Exactly. That is exactly it. It triggers you to make you think that this is super interesting when you're just kind of following around. The link for every single scene change. So, you know, it'll be a close up of Kim's face to a far out one, like every 6 seconds, because that's the average attention span. And it's more the fact that these behaviours are encouraged for young people. They're seeing like Kim Kardashian being a millionaire and being like, what they see is a perfect lifestyle, and that's not how it is at all. Like she still has to work 14 hours a day like a successful person. And I actually met someone who I would say would be semi-famous, Miss Universe Australia, the other week. And I asked her, honestly, what is it like having to attend all these events and do all these sorts of things? And she said it was exhausting. Like, I'm sure everyone's had the event that we've been invited to that we go, I cannot be fucked going to that. I can't be bothered. But then you have to go there, you have to do this, and you have to put on a smile, you have to sit in makeup for 2 hours to do these sorts of things. So these lifestyles are glorified, but... I'm sure Kim Kardashian's like probably the most extreme example, but these sort of lifestyles where you have to be there, you have to put on a pretty face and stuff like that. I see that and I go, that looks exhausting.
I reckon it would also be pretty lonely. They're always surrounded by 100%. So many people, but how many of them would be real friends?
Miss Universe actually made that comment. She's like, it's rare that people talk to me about these sorts of things. I'm either being talked to about some sort of business proposition coming up, some sort of event I attend, or something that I have to do. But even she messaged me on Moments of Meaning and said, I'm actually, they tell me who to follow.
Really?
Yeah.
That's insane.
So she wanted to be involved with it, and I spoke to her manager and she said she can't be involved in case she says something that's not in line with the Miss Universe pageant until she's not officially Miss Universe
that's so insane.
year, which was in June. And then she's got 2 months while the pageant's running, while she's technically not Miss Universe. She's not under all the sponsorship contracts, but you don't see that, obviously.
No.
So it's just like, imagine that sort of lifestyle. That's what you basically, your whole life
is curated lifestyle, right?
Yeah, it's dictated by everybody else, and like, what looks best for the public image.
Yeah, and that's why I love things like Aubrey Marcus's podcast and Joe Rogan's podcast and Jocko Willing's podcast and Tim Ferriss even. Like it's their medium to.
Well, that's a powerful podcast.
Yeah,
isn't it?
to converse with the world. So they're able to say exactly what they believe. They're able to say exactly what they think, without the feeling that they're going to be censored and things like that. And I think that's why I've fell in love with podcasts, is because it's honest and it's open and it's like there's no hidden doors or
on the video side of that, vlogs, why would you watch someone just live their life?
Yeah.
But what it is, I know that fascinated me as well.
Genuine.
What it was is it's not scripted. There's no agenda to it. Like, very few of them have agendas for a vlog. It's just somebody living their life, and you're just getting. It might not be the most valuable content, but it's authentic.
Yeah, and it's genuine. And the ones that aren't edited to the nth degree are the ones that are really beneficial. And I love watching those videos. It's just someone talking about the shit they're going through or their day or whatever. And that's one of the reasons. One, because I'm lazy, but it's one of the reasons why I don't edit this podcast, because I just want it to be one bulk of a conversation. And if we say something that we didn't necessarily want to or whatever, it doesn't matter. Like, it'll all come out in the wash at the end of the day. Like, we'll all be able to eventually get the things that we try and get across. And I think that's the really wonderful thing about what you're doing with Moments of Meaning is you just listen to people and you get to hear their story and hear their views and why they do what they do and the things that they struggle with. And I think struggle's a big thing. Like, having that struggle shown on whatever you're doing. You cut out all the you go on most social media accounts and it cuts out all the shit. Like all the puppy accounts. I can't remember who said it. Someone's like, you never see the dog shitting on the bed. And it's a really simple one. And,
I like that a lot.
Or you never see it. Yeah. And it's true, but I want to start seeing some of those accounts are a little bit more genuine, a little bit more real. I
think they'll come to the forefront, and no one's just saying that because I'm in that sphere. I think from what I can see, there's a massive push, and maybe it is like you're saying, towards that gratitude and sort of, that appreciation sort of thing. I think people are realising that these sorts of lifestyles, maybe it's to Facebook getting in so much shit for what they're doing and all these sorts of things. Yeah. People just aren't realising these are healthy in a broad term. But people crying out for authenticity. That's why podcasts are such a huge medium now.
Yeah.
And that's why vlogs are the biggest sphere in YouTube and have been for years, sort of thing. People just want authenticity. They just want to, see real humans' experiences, and that comes back to that community and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can know so much about a person if you watch if they've got a daily vlog. They can edit a lot of it, but you're watching 10, 15 minutes of their life that they show you every single day. You've got a general sort of vibe, and like you said, these things come out in the wash. So if they're an arsehole pretending to be a nice guy, eventually
you'll tend to
there's going to be those red flags popping up, every couple of days, and all of a sudden you're going to get a vibe to it. But there is that authenticity sort of thing to it,
and you get to know someone through that. I've had some weird conversations with people. I'll introduce myself, and they were like, "Oh no, I listen to your podcast," and it's just like, what stuff do you know about me? What have
I'm not sure if that's a good thing.
Yeah, what have I said? Please don't hold me to anything I've said on the podcast. It's not me. Well, actually,
is that why there's alcohol? So I was drunk at the time, it wasn't me.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. So if I have 2 Jetty Road Brewery Pale Ales, get around them.
Which $19.99 this week, I think.
But if I have a couple of those, it doesn't count. No, yeah. But that's the cool thing. I get to this medium for me and for you for Moments of Meaning, and you getting on this, it's an opportunity for us to just talk about the shit that's going on and talk about the world as we see it. And I'm sure if we listen back to the first one we did 49, 50 weeks ago or whatever it was,
it was very early, wasn't it? I think I was 6.
You were in the first 10.
Yeah.
If we were to look back on that, I would be disappointed if we both didn't disagree with half the shit we said.
Well, I imagine I would.
Yeah.
I reckon I'm less pessimistic now.
Yeah?
I'd say so.
Well, you've just loaded up on chocolate for the last 6 months, haven't you?
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
That's why I gave up the happiness thing, because I found it. It's just chocolate. It's just chocolate. There's probably some people out there going, oh, yeah, that's right.
Before we finish up, I got one question for you.
Okay.
What does the next 6 months and beyond look like for you and for Moments of Meaning?
Moments of Meaning, I want to ramp it up to 5 interviews a week, which will be a lot of work, but I'm excited for that.
Yep.
And for me personally, I want to establish a business and have at least 2 employees within 6 to 12 months is that goal. That was already established before you asked me that.
Yeah, nice.
2 employees. But Moments of Meaning is my main focus and always will be.
Yeah.
Because it comes back to that meaning and purpose.
Always is a long time.
Yeah, but I don't know, because it evolves with me, I feel like it's adaptable.
Yeah,
and
good.
whether or not people like it, it's going to be part of my life.
Yeah.
Whether or not there's people following it at that point is irrelevant to me.
Perfect.
And that is a selfish thing. That is because it brings me
nothing wrong with selfish.
So,
selfish is good because we can serve ourselves while serving others, and we're winning.
That's it.
We've clocked the game of life, I think, if we can sort that out.
100%.
Good. How can people find you? Give yourself a plug. You've got.
Oh, God.
You're as long as you need to talk to the 8 people that are listening.
Okay. For the 4 people that are my family, thanks for tuning in.
Happy Mother's Day, Mum.
She actually will listen to this. Happy Mother's Day, Mum. Moments of Meaning, main focus is YouTube. That's where you can find everything else. Everything first. Just type in Moments of Meaning. I'm pretty sure I'm the top search because there's only one other channel.
I hope so.
And they posted first time 3 years ago, I think, and that was the last time. So good. I think you'll find me. Instagram is just moments, full stop, of full stop meaning. And Facebook is just Moments of Meaning.
Perfect.
Cool.
Anything else?
Thank you for having me.
It's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Good from you.